Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Female Filmmakers Fuse with Alexa Polar and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.
Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Alexa Polar. Today, I'm super excited to have Ash helping me out today, Ash Warren.
Hello.
Kathy Dang is sitting in.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday.
She was super kind enough to drive me in. I'm on zero sleep. So thank you, Kathy, for being a friend.
Of course.
I dedicated the Golden Girls theme
Thank
song
you
to
for
you.
being
There
a
you
friend.
go. So before we get started, I do want to make a few announcements. Real quick, if you want to call in, then call-in number is 818-602-4929, 818-602-4929. And if anyone follows Ash at Who Is Ash Warren on her Instagram, you actually can get to watch this live. So a few things actually, not two things. I do apologize. I am on zero sleep. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to get emotional, but I'm strong. Okay, so a few things. We do have the elevator pitch still open. It ends March 1st. So if anyone has a short film idea, we are looking to produce it.
Yes.
The easiest way to explain it, it's kind of like Project Greenlight, but in a different format. And it serves as an educational purpose because we want to show what it's like in this industry from pitch to post. The winning project will be screened at the 3rd Annual Female Filmmakers Fuse Film Festival. It's a lot of F's right there.
It is. Lots of cacophony. Alexa.
Actually, that film festival, we are open for submissions with that as well. That's on Film Freeway. You can submit through there. But with the pitch, elevator pitch, it's free. Go online to femalefilmakersfuse.org. So sorry. And click.
You should just shorten that to like FFF.
Right. Seriously. And click on the elevator pitch icon, and it'll give you all the gist to it. And Ash is actually the on-camera host to that. So Ash, you should just become like the all-around host.
I know.
Oh, right?
We should get on this.
We should percolate that on us.
I think it's a good idea.
I think so too. Okay, so as we get started, I'm super excited because I watched it. It was really good. We'll discuss what I'm talking about with Caroline Bloom.
Hello.
Hello. She is our awesome guest today, and we're going to discuss your short film, among other things. Short film, what is the title of your short film?
First of all, thanks for having me. This is my first podcast.
Welcome.
Ooh, we popped our cherry.
I popped my podcast interview cherry. The title of the short film that I wrote and was in, I did not direct it, but I wrote and was in it, is called Da Capo. And it's an Italian musical term meaning from the top. So if you're familiar with music or have studied music, you'll have sheet music. And when you're finished, there's a little symbol at the end of the piece that sometimes indicates go back to the top and start over. It's kind of like a repeat. So what this short is about is a girl, a pianist who's decided to give up and sell her piano on a website much like Craigslist. And so we see the guy coming over to get the piano, and really what it becomes is a conversation between the two of them about their own individual failures, and they're confronting their own failures together. And what we see is these two seemingly very different strangers actually have a lot more in common than they thought. So it's really sort of about kind of what is failure and confronting that, and what does it mean to decide to keep going on and, pursuing your your passion. Or
it's a beautiful piece. I watched it. I sent it to Ash. She's watched it. I know she enjoyed it. We were just talking about it beforehand.
I was like, I have so many questions.
Oh, thank you so much for watching it. That really means a lot.
It was really good, and congratulations, because it was accepted in quite a few great film festivals, correct?
It was accepted into 11. I just had the very last one was Pittsburgh Shorts.
Nice.
In Pittsburgh.
A few days ago.
That was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Right before Thanksgiving.
That. Yeah.
And it's been quite a 1.5 long journey, because we shot it in 2 days in August of 2016.
Wow.
We submitted, we finished it, we finished editing it. My director, Barbara Stepansky, who, shout out, is awesome. She's wonderful. I'm so grateful to have met her and started collaborating with her, because we've now gone on to do some other things together. She edited the film as well. And by end of September of 2016, we started submitting it places. So it's been since March of 2017 that we've started showing it around, because it took a long time to get accepted to our very first festival, which was a challenge in itself.
It's pretty normal though, but congratulations, because 11, that's quite a feat.
I know.
Thank you.
Well done.
What are your plans with it afterwards?
I have a deal with an online distribution company.
Nice.
They've reached out. They have a partnership with some Oscar qualifying film festivals.
Nice.
So I took Da Capo to Cleveland International Film, and so Gravitas Pictures is partners with Cleveland, and so through that I was able to kind of secure distribution. So I think it'll start distributing online maybe in January.
Oh, that's great. So there's some things that not a lot of people understand or fail to understand.
It's because it's hard to understand.
Yeah. But what it takes to make a great piece is, besides starting from the written work, it's having really good performance, which you had in this piece, in your project. And then aside from obviously the capturing it, because there's so many different equipments that you can capture a project with, it's the audio's got to be good, so you had all the good components, and that's what made it really great. Because I watched it actually, to be honest, I watched it a couple of times, because when you first sent it to me, I saw it then, and then I watched it again when I saw what's it called, when as a refresher to leading up to today. So I was just like, okay, I remembered, because that was what was important too, because I totally remembered when I saw it the second time. So because when I first watched it is when we first reached out to each other and discussed you coming onto the show. And then I loved it, and so I was really excited to get to meet you, but that wasn't going to be for a couple months.
I know, but I think it was wasn't it like May or April,
I think so,
or something
like that. Yeah, exactly. So then it was like, okay, let me see this again, and I'm so glad I watched it again. I was like, oh, I knew it. And it's one of those things, like I sometimes, like, you see something, I was like, I know what it is, and I stopped it. No, I watched the whole thing again, because it was really good. It was really good. So Ash, you said you had some questions.
I do. So first of all, I saw in the film it was like Juilliard, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, I wonder if this actress is a real pianist. So my question is to you is, are you a real pianist? Is that something that you enjoy doing? Did you go to school for that? Like,
I did. I started playing when I was 5. Started taking lessons when I was 5. My father is a well-known musicologist, so in the field of musicology, he, which not too many people study. He would laugh if he heard this, but he's a classical music person, and my whole family is. But
that's beautiful.
He's taught for many years, 47 years, at Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts, which is the town that I grew up in, and so classical music was always part of my upbringing. I think as a stocking stuffer, when I was 5, I got my very first CD, which was Bach, and I didn't know who like the Beatles were until like much later on in life. And that was a pop education, not from my dad, but from my friends, because he only likes classical music. So
what a snob.
So I started playing when I was 5 and took lessons up until I was 18. And through those years, always did piano recitals and had a whole, like, a very strict regimen of, like, coming home from school, I had to practice an hour every day. And so, yeah, it was probably the first thing involving the arts that I ever did before acting and before writing.
Did you go to school for being a pianist?
No, I went to the Tisch School of the Arts at NYU for drama.
Okay.
But playing piano was always, like, it still is a big part of, you know, I have a keyboard here in LA and I play around, but I don't do it in quite like, I'm not pursuing it as, like, a career or anything like that. But I definitely want to, you know, incorporate it in what I do.
So from growing up with such a musically inclined family, how did you go from that to acting?
God, well, I guess it was my friend whose grandfather was the musical director of our community theater, Commonwealth Opera in Northampton. And my friend Kate called me up one day, and I was in 4th grade, and she was like, my grandfather's directing Oliver, the musical. Do you want to be an orphan with me? And, like, that was the very first. I had, like, never done anything before with acting or, like, been on stage as a performer other than piano. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds fun. And so that's sort of what kickstarted the being on stage journey, and doing Oliver, and then that subsequently led to doing the Phantom Toll Booth and just a lot of community theater, and then started doing high school plays and high school musicals, and then taking drama classes and all of that. So I sort of became obsessed with it.
So you went from theater and now in front of the camera.
Yeah. Well, at school, at NYU, we also had, like, our senior year, there was a studio specific to acting for the camera. And so that was my first training for, like, we even had a multicam class where you learn how to, like, be on a soap opera, which is sort of obsolete now, considering there's only one soap opera left airing.
I think I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't either, because I don't watch them. But like, that was the first, you know, introduction to acting for camera. And but yeah, I think having a base in theater is really important, because that's where you really learn how to break down a scene.
Yes.
And you are forced to just
learn your lines.
Yes.
Because you're doing it live. I'm just saying, like, there's no, like, cut lines.
That's,
you know?
They always say that with directors, they can always tell who grew up in theater versus who grew up in film. Because I swear, it's coming from a theater background myself, you can hit your take in, like, 1 or 2 and and they're like, okay. You see other people and it's like 7, 8, 9 takes. And I'm just like, what? And they're like, oh, I forgot my lines, which I'm like, we all do. But
yeah,
you know,
or their
like,
mark.
Or their mark.
Yeah.
Which is like, damn. But yeah, no, theater really, I think, prepares you like in so many arenas that you don't even realize. And it gives you such confidence.
Oh, definitely. And it gives you a certain sort of discipline, because you have to show up on time. You have to be early. You know, the first studio that I was placed in at NYU, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with how the Tisch structure works, but they place you in one of 7 different acting studios, depending on what sort of technique you're going to learn. And so in the one that I was in was called the Atlantic Theater Studio, which was founded by David Mamet. And
love him.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Definitely read a lot of his plays.
Yes.
But like their whole thing is showing up 15 minutes early before class starts, and they would shut the door on you. Like, if you were a minute late, I'm proud to say I only had the door shut on me one time during my 2 years that I trained there.
Not bad, that one time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then you're like kicking yourself the entire day. You're like, oh my God, they shut the door.
I wish they did that. When I was at UCLA, they would like, if you were late even by a minute, they're like, okay, you have to come up here and like do a monologue. So you better like prepare. So it's like, and if you didn't do a monologue, then you had to do a song and dance.
Oh my God.
It was insane.
Did that ever happen to you?
How many times?
Like,
How many times?
Now you have like 12 monologues.
There's so many times that by the end of the semester, my professor was just kind of like, well, you did the classics. You did like 20th century. You've done modern. Like,
hey, I mean,
you did Shakespeare twice. And I was like, I'm sorry. I'm coming from Burbank and the traffic sucks.
So you would just have a monologue already or a song and dance already to go.
I was always late for class. It's not good.
Yeah.
But that does not like happens like professionally now. But like back then when I was like 22, I was like, I just want to sleep in.
But now you can credit the entire canon of all of the monologues you've learned on LA Traffic.
Right.
It's so true.
So LA Traffic actually helped out for once.
For real.
For once, exactly.
For real.
Yeah.
I'm thankful.
Yeah, but I guess I really got into acting on camera. Actually, it was that studio, the senior year. I just loved the feeling of being on set. I love the camaraderie.
Does it feel like home to you?
Yeah, it does. Even though I spent almost 8 years in New York, so I, in a way, like that's home to me because that's where like everything began. Just the world of cinema, the world of kind of this more like laid back vibe that you can have with your team. I just love, like, they're two different things though. I miss theater so much and I really want to do that too. And there is great theater in LA, but I don't know, the two are very different and I love both. But there is something about being on a film set and as a writer, and this is really what has lit a fire under my butt. Okay. Can I say?
Ass?
Okay.
Yes, you can.
We can cuss.
To continue writing and creating my own stuff, because the feeling of having seen something grow from my brain onto a lasting piece of film is like the most fulfilling, satisfying feeling ever. Yeah. Whereas just being an actor, just in quotation marks, you're stepping into somebody else's project, and then you have no control after you do your part. Right. So this was a particularly special experience, and that's why I want to keep this going. Yeah.
I totally get what you mean by that, because I write as well, and there's nothing. I mean, it's happened to me a couple of times, and it takes me a moment to realize others saying what I wrote. Like, oh, I wrote that, or I've had someone like call me once and they liked the script a lot, and then they literally started quoting parts of the script that they loved, and it took me a minute. I was like, what? Because because it was a comedy, and they're like, oh my god, I was like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? They're like, you wrote this, and I'm like, oh, that's right. That's so familiar to me. But it's such a good feeling though, because really you're like, that is so awesome. Like someone else is saying what was in here. You know? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. You're being seen. You're being
someone that writes totally understands that.
Yeah.
Because
it's like different. An honored feeling. It's like, oh, you remembered the line that I wrote.
Exactly.
Like, I said this thing, and something resonated with you, and you're repeating it back to me.
That's so crazy. I'm a songwriter, and I just had like a little single somewhat come out, and these random people that were friends of mine, and I met them at a party, and they were like, oh, you're the one that did that song. We heard that in the car through someone's playlist the other day, and they started singing it back to me, and I was so blown away by that.
That's huge.
I was like, what?
Oh my god.
No, not me. Like, for real?
Wow. Yeah, that must be amazing too. Like if you're driving and then you hear your song like on the radio or on something.
Well, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Hey, it's coming. It's coming.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
But I mean, like,
someone's playlist.
But that was like a first time for me that I was like, wow, that's really
someone to
exciting.
recite your lyrics back. It's really
and they
gratifying.
were singing it back to me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like now I know, like, because that was my first writing endeavor. So I was like, to go back to the film, so I know you wrote it and you starred in it. So it was a two-part question. Did you help produce it as well? Yeah?
I did. But I really, the main producing went to my very good friend and collaborator, Maddie Mindling, who she produced it. I mean, she like was boots to the ground, like got the location, like figured out all the coordinating between crew and cast and rehearsals and booking space. Like she did everything.
She did it.
Yeah. And I met her. It just goes back to show like the little seeds you plant maybe years ago will grow. Like you don't know when, but like something will come out of a connection that you made so long ago.
Yes.
And when I first moved to LA in 2012, that summer in 2013, I was an intern at LA Film Festival, and I met her. We were both interns, and we just became friends. And I remember at the like rooftop party when LA Film Fest ended, I was like, I was frustrated with my career and like where I was, and I was like, I want to write something, I want to make a short film, and she was like, well, I want to produce a short film, let's do something together. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds great. Then life sort of happened, and
as always, and like
things get sidetracked, and basically I didn't have a script, or I didn't have the finished product until like it took 3 years, basically. Like, I wrote so many drafts, I would stop because of work or, life. But she stuck by me the entire time. She was always willing to read whatever latest draft I had, give me notes. We would meet up because we live close to each other. She basically was just by my side throughout the entire struggle of the writing process, which I would say was the hardest part of this whole process.
Yeah. Wow.
Second part to the question, that's magical. Second part to the question, I think my favorite scene in the movie is always, because I've seen it, I think I saw it like 4 times.
Oh my God,
wow.
Jeez.
Wow, that's
I don't think I've even watched that many times. I'm
a weirdo. I like to go back and like see things, and then I love to like look at the props, and that's why like I was like Juilliard and like everything, like all the little boxes and stuff. So, but I love it when he's like sitting down, and your character is so fucking pretentious. Like, you're just like, yeah, that's the piano, and oh, you play? Oh, okay, what do you play? And he's just like, oh, I'm gonna show you what I play. And he's just like playing the chopsticks, and you're just like giving him the most condescending look.
Yeah, it's true. I know. Sometimes I'm like, when I know exactly what look you're talking about.
You were just like you had like the stank face on. You know what I mean?
I know.
And then he like busts out with that good old jazz, and like he starts playing.
And then I'm like, oh, damn. Like,
yeah.
Okay, this guy can really play.
I love that moment. I really do. And so I was gonna ask you, like, do you feel like, as a woman, do you feel like, I know it's crazy, but as a woman, do you ever feel like people doubt your playing abilities, or have people ever doubted even your ability to get this film made? Because it seems like in the film, you doubted him, but it was like a mirrored reflection, like really you're doubting yourself. So do you feel like you've come across those obstacles in prior years or prior journeys when it comes to this?
She gets deep.
I know. I told you I had questions. I did my research.
Well, I have to say I'm very lucky, because I come from a very feminist town in Massachusetts, and I've always been surrounded by extremely strong women.
Awesome.
There's two all women's colleges there. I've always had really good girlfriends.
Anything in the industry?
Yeah, in the industry, I'm also really lucky because I'm part of this female filmmaking community out here. Women.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
For real.
I think that's how I even saw about you guys.
Yeah.
It was through Women in Motion Pictures, founded by Emily Best, who founded Seed and Spark, which is a crowdfunding platform which promotes female-produced projects. Right. So I didn't face those sort of particular obstacles because this project was born from working with women. And we had a really awesome, strong female team on it. I think out of a 21-person crew, 19 of us were women.
Yes.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's
and that was like a very... that was one of my priorities was, I want to tell my story. I want to first get this thing made. But I also really want to like have a female director and work with more women. And that was like a big priority of mine. So having this... whatever it's called, group.
Right, the platform.
The platform to ask and sort of crowdsource, like, hey, I'm looking for a director. Does anyone know anyone? Blah, blah, blah. And then sort of having that flipped where I was in power and I took a few women out to coffee to like interview them and like see how they viewed the film and the story and script, and that's eventually how I met Barbara, who came as a referral from a Sundance director who I know.
Ooh.
So I always felt like I was in strong hands, and who happen to be women, and
You're so lucky.
I'm really proud of that. Yeah, and I want to keep it going.
I know. I'm like waiting to hear the juicy tidbits. Like, this bastard didn't believe in me, and you're like, no, everyone was loving and kind. Bitch.
It's like you have to, you have to put out what you want. You have to manifest that out there.
Say that again. Yeah. Say that again. Say that again, girl.
You have to put it out. I don't know how to say it anymore. Put it out.
Yeah, in the universe.
Manifest it.
Yes. Manifest it into the universe.
Yes.
If you know you want, what is it you want to say? How do you want to say it? Who do you want to work with? Mm-hmm. And we're in a town where all of those things are possible. Because
Tiffany Haddish is like the best example of that. You guys, I know, right? Like that whole story of hers. I'm just like, get it, girl.
Yep.
Like,
I love Tiffany Haddish.
I do too.
So much.
And she got me into Cardi B, and Cardi B had the whole same well, she's a stripper. I don't think Tiffany Haddish was ever a stripper. But she came from that too.
Yeah, and she had some experiences, and oh my God, listening to her book, I listened to it on audiobook where she narrates it, and it's
magical.
It really is.
It's so magical.
Yeah,
I love it.
I have to add also, just being around the female filmmaker community, my part-time job is assisting the chair and founder of the Alliance of Women Directors.
Oh, nice.
Which similar to Women in Film or Women in Entertainment, is an organization that has existed for 20 years and promotes and advocates for women. And parity in the industry across all platforms in film, TV, and new media. So I feel like I actually know more women in the industry than I do men, because I'm just around them more.
Right.
And there's so many of us, and there's so many qualified people. So hire us more.
Exactly. That's a good point to make, because it's true. There are so many of us, and that's why there's all those different platforms on social media that works and helps and linking us together and building us up, because I've noticed that on Sophia Chiapos on her female filmmakers page on Facebook, she does that a lot. That's what she started it for, was to help uplift other female filmmakers.
I love her.
Oh yeah, she's
I've known her for
amazing.
years.
She's amazing.
Did you do the American Portrait?
No. It's so funny. We used to have a friend in common that was a yoga teacher, and her mom used to take yoga, and all of us would take Bikram yoga together out in La Cañada.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then that studio closed, so we all stopped going to yoga. So because he had a harassment suit against him.
Oh wow.
Yes, and lost his business, and his wife left him. But anyway, I've known Sophia.
That story sounds familiar with a lot of things I'm hearing.
I love Sophia. She's great. I knew her when she first started, I think, going into this realm after she came back from England, because she studied in England at the observatory over there for acting and stuff. And she's
really
on fire.
Yeah, she's great.
Yes.
She's just an extremely ambitious.
Very visionary.
Yeah.
She's getting, and she's starting her own feature right now too.
I know.
That's great.
Shout out, Sophia. Get it, girl. And say hi to Athena, your sister too, who does hair and makeup.
Oh, yeah.
She's awesome as well.
Awesome too,
Those two girls are fire.
Yeah. I will say though, with Da Capo,
I love the title, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I really love the title.
So many people are like, Da Capo.
It's Da Capo.
Like they don't,
Da Capo.
It was, it just felt like it made sense because they're both starting from scratch.
That's why I was like, what a reflection of each other. Like the entire time I was like, these are just mirrored individuals. And I really love the relationship. I love the dynamic. I love that it was a two-hander. How long did that take you to shoot?
It was.
And where?
It was really quick. It was 2 days. Because it's a small story. It's in one location.
Where was that location?
It was in Van Nuys. So Maddie, producer, she got using Peerspace. Have you guys heard of this?
No. For people like me and all our viewers and all my IG livers that will come soon. I know they will. Please tell us about this.
Peerspace is it's like Airbnb for film locations. Yeah. So the user interface actually looks pretty much identical. So you can So it's actually kind of attractive looking, and you can find out, sort of narrow in on the geographic location that you want to rent and find a location.
Is it like by day or like however you?
Yeah, and it depends on what the owner is willing to, price it as, and it's usually per hour rather than per day. I mean, some of the spaces are actually more expensive than things you could get maybe from word of mouth or knowing somebody, but they're typically like really good spaces if you're looking for lofts or like mansions or apartments. It's kind of, there's a whole variety there.
Yeah, for filming, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good resource. Awesome. I would still do more research too and like ask around for, cheaper rates or like do your negotiating as you need to do. But it's definitely a good resource, Peer Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's
Shout
how Maddie found it through there. And it was pretty easy, to be honest. It was like a very breezy shoot, 2 days. 12-hour days. Okay. And I wonder if you were going to ask about his playing.
Oh, that was not, yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I have an answer for that.
I was like, we're on it. So then my next questions were, I'm so sorry, please feel free to chime in, please. But I really love this film. Mainly because I always wanted to be a pianist myself. But that never happened. So with
never
him,
too late. No,
I know,
Jinx, never too late.
I need someone to help me. Give me a free piano because they're expensive. But with him, how did you find him? And what's his background with playing? Because I really enjoyed watching him. He is very charismatic.
Oh, he's the best.
It came right through, and that seldomly happens for me because I'm a very picky person when it comes to like watching my male actors, but I think I just hold them to like a different standard or something. But with him, he was just so great, and I just want to know how'd you
Mo, his name's Mo Irvin. Shout out to Mo. He's so fantastic. Truly feels so lucky to have gotten to work with him, and we're still friends. And he's a writer himself, so he's been acting forever, and he was in Grey's Anatomy. He was a recurring character for multiple seasons on Grey's Anatomy.
Was he the nurse?
Yes.
He was the nurse?
Yes.
Okay. The whole time I was like, he looks really familiar. And that's why. Yeah, he's a nurse who gives Ellen Pompeo's character like mad attitude. He's the one that originated McSteamy. Sorry, this is like season 2.
Yeah. No, this is getting Okay.
Grey's
Anatomy from the beginning. OG.
Yeah. Okay.
He really plays though?
So, no.
That's
I know. I'm sorry. I mean, that's a testament to how great
that was really good.
His great hand acting.
Yeah, that was. I was convinced. That's really good.
I was too.
And it's a testament to Barbara's editing too, because she was able to match. So we got a hand double. My good friend. Dominique Toney, her father Kevin Toney, is a very well-known singer-songwriter and musician, and he was in the group The Blackbirds from the 70s.
Oh my God.
So
Dominique, I used to listen to them all the time as a child.
So Dominique, I met her at college, and she's from here. She's from LA.
Okay.
And when we were planning the shoot, we were like, oh, how are we going to do it? Because Mo doesn't play. So I just reached out to her and I was like, hey, would your dad be down to like come over and for like 2 hours? We'll pay him. Like, can you just, do his thing? Yeah. And it was like the easiest thing ever. He was like, yes, of course. Tell me when and where and I'll be there. And so we blocked out like a 2-hour thing. I don't think it even took 2 hours. I think it was like an hour. We shot Kevin's hands doing his thing, made sure that he was wearing the watch on the same wrists as Mo was, because I think at one point we caught that.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
And then Mo did his thing. I'm trying to remember what order it was. Like, was it Kevin first, and then? No, I think we shot Mo doing the wides, and then we had Kevin, and we like zoomed in.
Did he have to like learn anything, like obviously like hand placement and stuff? But did he learn any minor chords that maybe like helped trick us?
I think it was more camera placement.
Yeah, it was camera placement because it was more over his shoulder and onto a close-up of his hands. So it didn't really matter really what Mo did because it was in wide. So I mean, as long as he was selling it with his performance,
he sold it.
Yeah, he did. I thought he did play. I honestly did think he was playing.
Great.
I was like, where did he go to school? What conservatory? Does he have OG music?
But see, that was the talent that he has as an actor. So he did sell that, and
sold it.
you have to give props, like you said. Who was it that found the hand?
Well, it was my friend who I just reached out to, and I was like, "Hey, can your dad come?" And
So is
it Kevin Tony?
But it was kind of like you that reached out, because I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
you got to give yourself props for that, because I cannot stand when I'm watching a movie and you get a close up of a hand and it's supposed to be a kid and you see this older man's hand, and I'm like, what? Come on! Like, I don't know if there's a couple movies where you see that, you know, and you're like, seriously.
In Memento, they have that. They have.
Oh, is there a moment?
They do have a Memento.
Oh,
I
God.
caught that.
I've seen it a couple of times, and it's worse when it's a kid. Like, it's a young kid, and all of a sudden you see like an older person's hand, and I'm like,
Come
really?
on.
Make sure,
I
like,
know,
this kid
I
is,
know
like,
that there's kids that actually know how to play, you know. So at least get someone that's talented. Like, do your research, like scope it,
No,
like.
that's what Facebook is for,
Right?
You know, come on.
That they have like liver spots and everything. I'm like, what the hell? It's just like,
Yeah.
what just happened? This
know.
14-year-old.
in Sex and the City, it's the best one because Sarah Jessica Parker has like such veiny
Oh, yeah.
hands, you know? And she always, whenever she's Carrie, she does this with her bang. She's like,
Right.
that. And in one scene, they had a hand double, and I think she was doing something with Lily, who was Charlotte's daughter, and you see like a pickup, and her hands were not veiny. They were like 20-year-old hands.
Oh my god.
I was like, you fucking liar. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But
Like,
see,
there's
that
gotta be a
was
difference.
that was perfect casting in that sense, like the double. Because no, seriously, I thought it was him playing.
Oh, great.
That
Well,
whole
I'm
time.
so glad. I'm so glad I tricked you guys.
You did. Well done. Well done. That was good.
It's weird with piano playing in movies. Even if it is the person playing, I find that it's hard to believe that it's them playing. Like, there's something about the sound and the picture that it almost, for me, always seems fake.
Kind of like when Ryan Gosling, like he says he learned.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
For La La Land. And he took a whole lot of time to learn how to play,
Yeah.
you know. So that was great.
That's impressive
That-
because he actually did play.
Yeah.
I think it was like 80% of that. Of
Exactly.
everything yeah.
And then, ironically, so did John Legend. He had to learn because he's a pianist.
Yeah.
He wasn't though in the movie. He was. Did he play the guitar or the bass? Bass. So he had to learn how to play the bass.
Which is so hard.
Which was he said it was not easy for him. So a lot of times he had to trick. You know, it had to be a camera movement because that wasn't his. That's not his instrument.
Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that. But if you're used to percussion or piano,
Right.
obviously string instruments are going to be different.
Yeah.
Instruments are like a whole different thing. I grew up playing violin, and like it was not. I had to give that shit up because
I hated the violin. I'm not
You
gonna
played
lie.
it too?
I could not.
It's
stand
just
it.
hard. You sit there like with a crooked neck the whole damn
My
time.
thing was the fingers. I can't stand.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. And when I play guitar and bass and all that, so when I do, my brothers always make fun of me because I mirror them.
Yeah.
So this is me playing it, but I have to play a right hand. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like the opposite.
Oh.
So the string has to be. So if someone gives me like a left hand guitar where the string is done for a left hand person, I can't play it. It has to be a right hand guitar, and then I can play it on my left hand. It's really weird. Because
What hand are you?
I'm right hand.
You are right.
But when it comes to the guitar,
You have
because
to play left?
yeah.
I had to think about that.
Yes,
That's so
I play
awkward.
left. But it isn't for me. It's because when I was a kid, I was watch my brothers and I would be like, okay. So I was literally mirroring them, and so that's how I learned.
So you can curve your wrist
Yes.
more.
Yes.
Wow.
That's like getting like a lefty mitt
That
in
is
baseball,
talent.
but
Yes.
like you're right-handed, but like you learn.
Those are like those
the opposite.
ambidextrous people.
Just with that though, that's it. Other than that, my left
Just
arm is
with that.
useless. Like I was just like,
This thing is mad useless too. I hear you.
I was like-
It does nothing.
but no, seriously, I can't get over the fact that he wasn't playing.
I can't either. I can't either. That was really good.
Oh,
that
that's
was
so
really,
great.
really good.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to text him after this and
Please
be like,
do.
"Hey, like, couldn't believe it. They still think."
Seriously.
Shout out, Mo.
What are your plans now?
Yes.
What's your next project?
So I have a few different writing projects that I'm working on. This really, this like really was like the signal to me that I don't want to wait around. I don't want to, spend my life just waiting around for an audition, and so I still do that. I have agents who send me out, and I do a lot of voiceover work. That's something that
I love your voice, by the way. It's very soothing. I wanted to also say that.
I like your voice a lot too. I think you have a great voice, and I'm gonna have to check out your music. But I'm kind of always doing a million things. Like I just did my very first facial capture for an upcoming VR game that's going to be announced in February.
Very cool.
So VO has been something that I've also been pursuing the last few years. Mostly commercial and TV commercials. Radio and TV commercials. But also now starting to do a little bit more animation and
there's good money in that too, especially with the voiceover.
Yeah, for sure. If you can.
Do you have like a little studio in like your bedroom or something where you do all that stuff?
Working on building one in my closet. The clothes actually are really good, like absorption material. Like
they have those boxes that you can do it. I heard.
Yep.
Bobby was telling me about that.
They do. Yeah.
You get one of those.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, no, right now I do work out of my home, and my agency will invite their clients to go and like audition at the agency because they have professional recording booths. And then when you actually book something, then it's like a professional thing. But for auditions and things like that, I just send it from my closet, my home closet.
It still works though.
Hey, it still works.
It
honestly,
does,
as long as the acoustics are right, that's all that matters.
Yeah, you have a little pop filter, and you're good to go.
Perfect.
And so I'm working on a pilot that I have a first draft of a pilot.
Nice.
Of a dramedy that I ideally would love to shoot in Europe. That's where it primarily takes place. So that's in the works.
Where in Europe? If you don't mind me asking.
A little bit of everywhere. Let's just say it's about a girl who's discovering her ancestry, and so she goes around to 4 or 5 different places.
Nice.
She sounds like me, circa 21.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely. Yeah. Did you?
I did that.
Do a little backpacking?
When I went to Oxford, for a bit. Well, really quickly, we went to Oxford for a bit, but I would go but I would go around because I found out I was like Portuguese. I found out I was Spanish and all this stuff like that. So I would just go around and look at all the towns that apparently my ancestors were from, which was really cool.
That's very cool.
That's why I was like, that sounds like a great project, and I'm sure all those backdrops in the European cities will definitely add to your film.
Yes, yeah.
Or
that's
pilot.
That's the goal. That is the goal.
Yeah.
So doing that. It's great. I have a little writers group who I meet with every few weeks, and we sort of we share what we're working on, our works in progress, and that's really inspiring to like hear them. And it's really small. It's just 2 or 3 of us. Like I'm the third, and sometimes there's a 4th person. And they're such talented writers, so it's really great to be around people who are better than you and give you feedback.
Yeah, it's good. It's always good to be in a writing team, a group. I mean,
Do you guys? People?
I went to one once, and then
That face.
I didn't go back, not because of the writing group that it wasn't good or anything like that. I didn't go back because I have this tremendous fear of reptiles, and I was there for an hour, and then I didn't realize that there was a snake right next to me. And so when I did, I was just like, bye, and I never went back, and that's where they met. So I was just like, I can't. I'm sorry. Like, if you guys change location,
were you meeting at a zoo?
Yeah.
No, it was a person's. Yeah,
Any
any reptile does it for me.
A lizard ran across my front door, and she wouldn't even enter.
Yeah.
Oh, lizards are so cute, though.
No,
they're so
not to
small.
her.
It was
Not
a
to me.
gecko. Yeah, just
Yeah, I cannot. And it's weird too. Just not very many people know this, but if I have a dream, and if I see someone and then there's a snake in the dream, I cut off all ties to that person. I just, to me, it just tells me something like,
oh my God,
something bad.
It's
So
a
I'm
bad
just
omen.
like, to me, it's a bad omen. So I'm just
I
like,
have that too with
Yeah?
crows.
Okay.
I do. There's been dreams that I've had. I have lots and lots and lots of dreams. It's weird, but I've had dreams where there's crows that circle over people's heads, and I took that as a precursor. And I would be like, I'm gonna watch that one, and then I would see the betrayal. I would see all the lies and everything come out. So that's interesting.
that's how I am with snakes.
With
and
snakes.
It's snakes.
Don't cut
definitely.
me out.
I haven't
like
had a dream
snakes.
with you with a snake, but yeah, it's
me out.
just a huge phobia with me, and so I can't see any sort of reptile at all.
What about a turtle?
tolerate a turtle because I can. That's one thing I can outrun in life. But
they don't move.
But other than that, yeah, it's just this huge phobia. So that's why I never went back to that writing group again.
Could you have perhaps suggested to meet elsewhere?
I did, and because they've been meeting there for such a long time, it was just like no. So I was just like, all right.
It's either the snake or me, bro. Choose.
So they had quite a few. I didn't realize it that they had a few of the, what are they called?
The tank?
The terrarium. Yeah, so they had a couple of those, but there was literally one next to me. And I don't know why or how I didn't notice until the dang thing moved. And I was like...
How big was it?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how big it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
was it a little baby or was it like
it was just, it was pretty big,
hell
yeah.
no. Okay, I hear you.
So what you're telling me is your favorite movie is Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah, never seen it. Yeah,
if I understand correctly.
What are you guys afraid of? Do you have like little phobias too?
Yeah. I'm not afraid of anything. The only thing I'm grossed out by is stepping on a worm barefoot.
That's so random.
That's an irrational fear.
That's so random. That's so random.
Did you do that as
I'm
a child?
Scared of it. It's just like I don't want
The feeling?
You guys know potato bugs, right?
Yeah.
How difficult it is. Like, not that I go out killing potato bugs, but I remember someone when I was younger, someone tried to kill it because they freaked out. They didn't know what it was, and it was a potato bug. And they're very hard shell, so it's not an easy thing to kill if you try to kill one. And my brother was walking in the backyard, and he was barefoot, and he stepped on one accidentally, and he crushed it. It's like, which took my friend a long time to try to kill this potato bug, and nothing worked. My brother literally just stepped on it, and he was like, "What was that?" And he freaked out when he lifted up his foot, and it was a dead potato bug.
Wow.
But what's your fear? Do you have any fears, Caroline?
Yeah, I grew up super like deathly afraid of spiders. Like I'm arachnophobic. Although I think it's gotten a little better over the years because like I've seen in the shed that we have, there's like daddy long legs in there, and like I didn't run away screaming this time when I saw them. So maybe it's subsiding a little bit, or maybe I know that daddy long legs are actually harmless.
Yeah,
I mean, they're the most deadliest ones, ironically, but because their teeth can't kill us, they can kill anything else. So they're having them is good for you because they can kill anything else. Yeah, ironically.
Yeah, and then more existentially, I guess, fear of failure, but that's
girl. Yeah. You ain't gonna fail. Don't worry about that.
See, ironically, like I said that to someone, and they looked at me and they're like, "Everyone has that fear." I was like, "No, but my fear is to fail others." So if I'm in a production, like Kathy here is my co-producer, she's like the producer, and so if I don't want to fail her. If I'm the director, I'm like, I don't want to fail my talents. I don't want to fail the crew. So I don't want to fail my parents, so it's like one of those things where it's not a failure of my own. It's a failure towards others. I don't want to fail. I don't want to let them down. So that's my way. It. Yeah. So that's the fear that I have when it comes to failure.
I get that. Yeah. Well, hopefully, and then that fear can sort of morph into, action because you don't want to experience that feeling of having failed others, and like, so you
oopsies,
will. Yeah,
we failed.
Yeah, exactly. But that'll like kick you in a gear so that you make sure you don't.
And it's when you're dealing with other people's money, especially if it's an investor, that's definitely something that gives me anxiety because I'm like, you put money into this. Oh my God, crowdfunding is different. Crowdfunding is different, because it's kind of like not to let it like down or anything. It's someone gifting you money to make a project. You don't want to let them down, but it's a huge difference where they're expecting something back,
a return,
and a return on their investment. So to me, that's also something I get super anxiety with when it comes to any project. Which before we start wrapping up with your short film, did you guys crowdfund? How did that, or was it like no budget? Because I've worked on all sorts.
Yeah, it was self-funded. Okay. That and again, Maddie was sort of instrumental in that. Awesome. But also asking around my family for $50 here and there.
Yeah.
But ultimately it was really low budget. I mean, it really, other than the location, that was the most expensive thing, and paying crew. But everything else, like everyone took big pay cut. And for if you want to tell a good story and have 2 days free, like why not?
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I do see on the like social media posts where people are like, that's not even minimum wage. I'm like, don't knock it.
Yeah.
Because at least they're offering and at least they're putting it out there, you know, and there's someone that might say like, you know, I know you can't afford it. I get what you're trying to do. I have that day off. As long as we don't go over these many hours, I'll do it. Because I've worked, I've worked with people like that where I was honest and said, hey, I can't pay your normal rate, but here's what I can pay.
Which is totally,
you know,
totally fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you have to, and then the person will assess and say, is this worth it to me to take a pay cut? But like, hopefully it is, because I mean, what else are you going to be doing that day?
We also never know where things go.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So it might be worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all these, you know, good conversation on that, because I mean, it's true though, because we're always, I see that, and sometimes I understand where they're coming from, where people get super angry on that, and I totally understand you do want to pay the legal rate, but at the same time, this is an art. That's why it's the whole term, starving artist. It's, you know, I'm not going against it, but I totally understand both perspectives.
Yeah. What's frustrating to me is when I find out as an actor I'm getting deferred pay, whereas everybody else on the crew is actually getting a rate, like, but even a cut rate or whatever. Like, I've been on countless sets where, I mean, I've known, because having gone in, I know that it's deferred pay. And it's like the whole thing as an actor is like, oh, well, I'm not getting paid, but like, who knows? Maybe that director will blow up and then they'll remember me for the next thing. And then like, I'll meet
But
this
deferred
person.
pay still means you're supposed to get paid, even though there's a rare chance that that happens.
Yeah.
Right. No, I know how that works.
Still waiting.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah. That's my thing though. I've done projects where we've had a project where it's deferred paid, but it was deferred paid for all.
Correct.
Right.
If that was my thing.
It was across the board.
One person gets paid, everyone gets paid.
Yeah.
I wish more people would like assume themselves to that position, because it's so hard as an actor, like, to be like, the crew's getting paid.
Yeah, no.
But like, and most of the time, the ones I've done on set stuff, the crew's 100% getting their day rates, which I'm like, go crew. But like, what the hell about us over here? So I think that's such a good mindset to have. It's like, if everyone can't get their normal rates or a compromise rate or whatever it is, then everyone should just be deferred.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
more of a community sense of spirit.
And that's how it is,
Payment
and that's
stuff.
why it works out, because then everyone knows we're all in it together.
Yes.
Like, literally, we're all in this together.
We're all eating,
you know,
the
like,
same
we're all
crap
waiting.
together. We're all doing
Yeah,
this.
we're all waiting for that pay. You know.
I think there's just like, it's like I don't know, this consensus about how actors are just, we're willing to work for nothing because it's all about the craft and the work, and like that
We're
will
hungry.
feed itself. Yeah. And that's in and of itself.
everyone has
worth it.
bills.
I was about to be like,
It's
I got bills.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pay my bills?
Yeah.
What the hell?
I know. Sadly, you know, that's still the case. Like, that's why I don't really go on Actors Access anymore, which is the self-submitting website where you submit for your projects. Is so many of those things are either deferred pay, and I don't know. I think now it's time to just be a little bit pickier and really weigh the value of, because it's time too.
Right. No,
and
absolutely.
if you're not getting paid, what are you getting?
Right.
Are you getting good relationships? Or are you getting good?
Yeah, the
something.
networking worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So on that note, because we do have to unfortunately wrap it up, because I could go on with that. Same. I do want to thank you for being here. Real quick, where can people find you? What's your social media, website, all that good stuff?
Yeah, cool. You can find me on several. So Instagram is just Caroline Bloom, one word. Twitter is @Caroline_Bloom. And my website is carolinebloom.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So, Ash, thank you so much for co-hosting with me.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah. Kathy, thanks for being my savior today. These past couple days, actually, you know, keeping me, sane. So seriously, thank you
holding down the fort.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Caroline, honestly, such a great film. I can't wait for it to be streaming. Let me know when that happens so I can share it, you know, let people know where they can find it. And I'd like to get you back, like when you do your next one.
That would
Let's
be
get you
so
back
awesome.
here.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. This,
Absolutely.
like, again, you just popped my interview.
I know.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, and thank you.
No problem. Everyone have a safe and happy Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to Female Filmmakers Fuse with Alexa Poehler and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.